There is a man in Sendai who wakes every morning at 5:15, not because his alarm tells him to, because his body simply finishes. He lies still for a moment, then swings his legs off the futon and stands. Over the next 45 minutes, before he eats a single thing, he does 6 small things in the same order. He has done them for years. And by the time he sits down to breakfast, quietly and without any awareness of it, his body has already begun the work most people spend hours at the gym trying to force. He is 63, he has never owned a gym membership. His waist has been the same measurement since he was 40. He eats rice every morning. He drinks beer on the weekends. He is not depriving himself of anything. He is simply doing 6 small things in a particular order in the quiet window before his first meal. And that window, it turns out, is doing most of the work. And somewhere else right now, someone is dragging themselves out of bed at the last possible minute, grabbing coffee and a handful of something sugary, rushing out the door, and spending the rest of the morning wondering why they feel so heavy, so slow, so far behind before the day has even started. They will try to fix it later at the gym with a salad, with another app. But what if the real window for that fix is not later at all? What if it has already closed by breakfast? This video is about the 45 minutes before your first meal. What Japan does with that window, what most of the world wastes, and why those quiet minutes may matter more for fat loss than any exercise you do afterward. Stay until the end because the 6th thing is the one that ties the other 5 together, and it is also the one nobody expects. Before we begin, it is important to understand why the morning, specifically the hours before your first meal, is different from the rest of the day. When you wake up, your body is in a particular metabolic state. You have been fasting without food for 7 or 8 hours. Insulin, the hormone most responsible for directing your body to store energy as fat, is at its lowest point of the day. And in that low insulin window, your body is already gently drawing on its own stored fuel. Not because you're exercising, because there's nothing else to draw on. This is the window that most people immediately close. A sugary coffee, a piece of toast, a bowl of cereal, anything that spikes blood sugar and brings insulin rushing in. The door to the body's own stored fuel swings shut, and it stays shut until the next time insulin falls, which for many people is not until they sleep again. Japan's morning does not close that window. It gently extends it and fills it with 6 small things that support the body instead of interrupting it. And here's the key. None of these 6 things feel like a fat loss strategy. They feel like a calm morning. That is the design. You're not grinding through another. You are simply waking up differently and letting the body do what it already knows how to do when it is not being interrupted. Here they are in the order they happen. The first thing, warm water before anything else. Not coffee, not juice, warm water or at room temperature. The first thing to touch your lips after waking. After a full night without fluid, your body wakes up mildly dehydrated. Every system, from your circulation to your digestion, is running slightly below its best. And the most common first response coffee is a stimulant poured onto a dehydrated system whose stress chemistry is already climbing naturally through the cortisol awakening response. Warm water gently rehydrates. It signals the digestive system to come online without the jolt of caffeine, and it costs you nothing but 2 minutes in a glass. There's a reason this comes first. It is the gentlest possible way to tell your body the day has begun. No alarm, no rush, no stimulant. Just water. The body responds to gentleness in the morning far better than most of us realize. Some people add a small squeeze of lemon or a pinch of sea salt. The lemon adds a little vitamin C. The salt replaces minerals the body used overnight. Neither is required. The water itself is the point. Drink it slowly, standing at the window or sitting in a quiet chair. Let it be 2 minutes of nothing except the warmth in your hands and the first calm thought of the day. That is the first thing. The second thing. Step into daylight. Within the first 20 to 30 minutes of waking, go outside. not through a window, into actual outdoor light, even on a gray day, for 5 to 10 minutes. Here's why this matters so much for fat loss specifically. Light entering your eyes in the morning is the strongest signal your brain uses to set your circadian rhythm, your internal clock. And that clock governs far more than when you feel sleepy. It governs insulin sensitivity, hunger hormones, and how efficiently your body processes the food you will eat later in the day. Dr. Sachin Panda at the Salk Institute has published extensively on this connection. His research suggests that a well-calibrated circadian rhythm is associated with better blood sugar regulation and healthier body composition, while a disrupted one is linked to the opposite. You're not going outside for the exercise. You're going outside for the light. The light tells every cell in your body what time of day it is, and a body that knows what time it is handles fuel more efficiently than one that does not. Stand in the doorway with your warm water if you like. The 5 minutes do not need to be complicated, they just need to be outside. And if the weather is poor, it still works, even on a cloudy gray morning. The outdoor light is many times brighter than the light inside your home. Your eyes register that difference even when the sky looks flat, rain or shine. The clock setting signal reaches you. So do not wait for a perfect morning. Step out into whatever morning you have. That is the second thing. The third thing, move gently for 20 to 30 minutes. Not a workout, a walk, slow, unhurried, with nothing in your ears and nowhere specific to go. In Japan, this is called sampo, and it is not thought of as exercise. It is thought of as part of the morning, the way brushing your teeth is part of the morning, something you simply do because your body expects it. Here's what is happening during that walk in the quiet hours before you've eaten. Your insulin is still low, your body is still drawing gently on its own stored fuel, and the walk, easy and aerobic, does not override that state the way a hard workout would. It simply extends it. A gentle walk in the fasted window lets the body continue doing what it was already doing, just a little more actively. There's a second benefit that researchers at Stanford have described. When you walk outdoors, the scenery slides past you on either side, creating a pattern of visual motion they call optic flow. That specific pattern has a measurable calming effect on the amygdala, your brain's threat center. A calmer amygdala means lower cortisol, and lower cortisol, as we have discussed in other videos, means less of the hormonal signal that drives fat toward the midsection. You do not need to walk far. You do not need to walk fast around the block to the end of the street and back through a park if one is near. The distance is irrelevant. What matters is that your body is moving gently outdoors in daylight before you have eaten. That single combination, gentle movement plus fasted state plus natural light, is doing more for your body composition in 30 unhurried minutes than most people get from an hour of intense indoor training. A gentle walk outdoors before breakfast. That is the third thing. The fourth thing, breathe with intention for 3 minutes. After the walk, before the day begins in earnest, sit or stand somewhere quiet and breathe slowly and deliberately for 3 minutes. That is all. This is not meditation in the formal sense. It is simply a few minutes of slow, controlled breathing with the exhale deliberately longer than the inhale. The reason for the longer exhale is physiological. A slow, extended exhale activates the vagus nerve, which carries the signal from the body to the brain to downregulate the stress response. Heart rate slows, cortisol eases, the nervous system shifts from alert toward calm. In Japan, this kind of deliberate pause before action has deep roots. The concept of seishi, quiet sitting, is practiced in temples and in homes alike. Not as a spiritual performance, but as a way of arriving at the beginning of the day without carrying the urgency of yesterday. Here's a simple version you can use. Breathe in through your nose for a count of 4. Hold gently for a count of 4, then breathe out slowly through your mouth for a count of 6 or 8, letting the exhale be noticeably longer than the inhale. Repeat that 5 or 6 times. That is your 3 minutes. If you want to go one step further, try the physiological sigh, a technique described by Stanford neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Huberman. 2 short inhales through the nose, one on top of the other, followed by 1 long, slow exhale through the mouth. Even a single cycle of this has been shown to measurably reduce stress in real time. 3 minutes, that is the 4th thing. It is brief enough that no one can claim they do not have time for it, and powerful enough that you will feel the difference before it is over. The 5th thing, delay breakfast by 60 to 90 minutes after waking. This is the one that directly protects the fasted window. When you eat immediately upon waking, you close the door on the body's low insulin state before it has had a chance to do its quiet work. When you delay by 60 to 90 minutes, filling the gap with water, light walking, and breathing, you give the body time. This is not starving yourself. It is not skipping breakfast. It is simply not rushing to eat the moment your eyes open, and instead filling that gap with things that support the body rather than interrupt it. In Japan, the traditional morning unfolds slowly. The meal comes after the body has woken, moved, and settled. It does not arrive before the person is even upright. That sequencing is not an accident. It is a rhythm the body responds to. And notice what fills that gap. It is not empty time. It is not suffering or deprivation. It is the water, the light, the walk, the breathing. By the time you sit down to eat, you have already done 4 things for your body, and none of them felt like effort. The delay is not a fast you white knuckle through. It is a morning you filled with better things than eating on autopilot. Eat breakfast, eat well, but eat it after the body has had its morning, not before. That is the 5th thing. And now the 6th, the one I told you to stay for, the 6th thing, sit down when you eat and eat slowly. This sounds ordinary. It is not, because here's what most people actually do. They eat breakfast standing or walking or driving or scrolling or in 2 bites between getting dressed and grabbing their keys. The food enters the body, the mind is somewhere else, and the whole meal passes without the body ever registering that it happened. In Japan, sitting to eat is not a preference. It is how a meal is taken, and eating slowly, chewing properly, putting the chopsticks down between bites is the quiet practice that ties everything in this morning together. Here's why it matters for your waist. The signal that tells your brain you're full takes roughly 20 minutes to arrive from your stomach. Eat in 5 minutes, standing, distracted, and you blow right past it. Eat in 20, seated, attentive, and you stop naturally at the point of enough, without willpower, without counting, simply because you gave your body the time to speak and then actually listened. Hara, hachi, the Okinawan principle of stopping at 80% full, is impossible if you eat too fast to hear the signal, and it is almost effortless if you slow down enough to feel it. So the 6th thing is not a separate habit. It is the culmination of the 5 before it. You woke gently, you hydrated, you gave your body light and movement and breath, you let the fasted window do its work. And now when you finally sit down to eat, you eat the way the body was designed to receive food, slowly, attentively, seated, and with the full awareness that this is the first real fuel of your day. And there is one more quiet benefit when you sit down to eat after a morning like this. Calm, hydrated, moved, breathed, you eat differently. Not because of rules, but because your body is no longer screaming for quick energy. You're not ravenous, you're not shaky. You're simply ready. And from that state, the body naturally gravitates toward real food rather than sugar and stops when it has had enough rather than when the plate is empty. That is the sixth thing. Here is the whole morning in one breath. Warm water first, daylight within 30 minutes, a gentle walk before breakfast, 3 minutes of slow, intentional breathing, delay the meal by 60 to 90 minutes. And when you eat, sit down, slow down, and let the body tell you when it has had enough. 6 things in order before your first bite. None of them dramatic, none of them expensive, none of them requiring equipment, a gym, or anyone's permission. Just a reshaping of the first hour of your day away from rush and reaction and toward a rhythm your body was quietly built for. The man in Sendai, with his unchanged waistline and his 5:15 mornings, has never once thought of any of this as a fat loss routine. To him, it is simply how a morning begins. And that is exactly why it works. It is not something he forces. It is something he has made so ordinary, so embedded in the shape of his day that skipping it would feel stranger than doing it. Now, before you close this, I want to ask you something. Which of these 6 things is the one your mornings are most missing? Is it the water you skip for coffee? Is it the daylight you never step into? Is it the walk you have replaced with a commute? Is it the breathing you have never once tried? Is it the meal you eat before your body has even woken up? Or is it the way you eat, fast, standing, barely noticing before running out the door? Drop the number in the comments, 1 through 6, not so we keep score, but because naming the one thing you're going to change tomorrow morning is the first step toward actually changing it. And someone reading your comment may recognize themselves in it and decide to change theirs too. If this shifted something in how you see your first hour, share it with one person you know who has been fighting their weight with effort and willpower and still cannot understand why nothing moves. The answer might not be more effort. It might be a different morning. Take care of yourselves. I will see you in the next one. This content is for general well-being and lifestyle inspiration only. It is not a substitute for advice from a qualified medical or health professional.